Here in Colorado, we've decriminalized the cannabis plant since 2000. I think there's actually been people since '93 who have been really been growing industrial hemp here in Colorado. It can grow in many different environments and many different types of conditions. So here it is very dry, so there are strains that enjoy it. So the only place that you can't really grow is tropical, super tropical, because it's so moist and so wet all the time. That's why Colorado is a good place. We're not known for our hemp farming though, like Kentucky or the eastern states, but we do have the cannabis culture here. The garden space is donated. Behind us is a vacant lot, and a gentleman named Maxwell from Los Angeles, he's an artist, and we moved to the art district, which is where we're at, and his contribution back to the community was to try to establish a community garden that's volunteer based.
So how much yield would you be able to get out of the hemp plant in a piece of property this size?
Well, this is about a 1/4 acre, and I really wouldn't even be doing more than just a couple plants in general, because they're just raised beds. So it's all about educational based and to get people familiar and aware of the plant. So there's 2 different ways of growing, and we'll illustrate those ways.
Volunteering, gardening, getting together.
This place is really beautiful.
Let us hear now, what exactly are you going to be doing with your hemp visions?
And I hope to just do a couple of different plantings on specific plants, again for the educational purpose, so people can see it. It's going to have the leaves, they're going to be like, oh, that looks like marijuana, but it's cannabis, but it's industrial hemp. And we're growing it for industrial purposes. You know what I mean?
I love it.
So I'm a registered hemp farmer, so I'm registered with the Department of Agriculture. Farmers have tons of acreage, but not enough seeds to actually fill that demand. The apple tree itself can adapt to all these different climates. And that's the same thing I was saying earlier, is cannabis can adapt to all these different climates, so it can literally live anywhere. But no one's actually processing seeds right now because everyone needs those seeds to regrow. But these got finished pretty well.
How long is the cannabis plant's life cycle?
Well, it can be anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and some varieties of plant can grow even longer.
And the cannabis that you're growing is not for recreational use, not for medical use. This is just industrial hemp. Just
industrial, to use for fibers, and the seeds ultimately will be pressed, cold pressed, for the oils. You're gonna plant these seeds in the ground, and then for them to grow next year. And that's what we're doing right now. We're gonna be germinate. We're encouraging them to grow, even though it's the middle of winter, right? We're still lacking seeds. The seed bank is very low, viable seeds that are actually industrial hemp. So once you don't have to worry about THC anymore, infinite possibilities are available. Commercial industrial hemp farmers could start growing industrial hemp on a world trade level by getting certified seed that is guaranteed to be 0.3% THC or less. So the certified seeds is another thing that we need to address, and recently now they proposed some amendments to the rules and regulations, mostly about more paperwork, more fees and shit. It sounds such preaching stuff, but one thing that they haven't addressed is the certified seeds. So for Colorado to really step it up into a degree to reach that industrial level, we need these certified seeds. Again, but everything's tied in, So from production to processing to sales to education. So education is a very important aspect, and that's why we're here today too.
That's where I'd like to see it go, is making the oils, seeing how to render, how we can process this down further to make more things. And I think this is just a first example of where we're starting from.
Seeds are so precious. Even this amount of seed is so valuable. People will pay a lot of money for them. But the problem with that this isn't enough.
Now, how many seeds did you count out?
75.
Perfect. Well, what are we going to do today, Mr. Wizard?
So we're gonna start germinating seeds, and I've just warmed up some distilled water, just to room temperature. It didn't even boil. It didn't even come close to boil. It's just barely warmed up. I'm gonna put my seeds into this glass, but I'll give them at least 12 hours.
Well, you don't have to be that precise. You want it to hydrate,
Yeah.
and then what do you do after the seeds have soaked?
Well, then I do the paper towel thing.
There's 75 seeds here. Here they are. They're going into the water. I'm sorry, but I have to just marvel at them and look at how beautiful you guys.
Give them a final blessing before
Yeah.
they go.
Om
to the-
Shiva, Hare Ganja, Om Shri Ganesha. Thank you for making this sacred planet. Okay, you guys swim on good. Yeah, I do 4 to 12 hours.
4 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
12, I don't think I've killed them. Freshly harvested seeds have almost no prompt germination.
Mm.
You'll have maybe a 5% germination. Then after a month, the germination rate increases.
Right.
And depending on the temperature that they were at, I
Right.
mean, there's some good data in the Haney report that you have, I think,
Right.
which they stored some seeds in a freezer and at room temperature.
Okay.
And so the ones at room temperature, their germination rate more rapidly increased with time, whereas the ones in the freezer, it took a little longer. And so I'm just kind of trying to read Mother Nature's mind
Well,
as to what she has in mind there.
so there's a dormancy in the seeds.
Yeah, the dormancy is a fantastic survival characteristic of any wild plant, so that when the seed heads mature and seeds begin falling, they land on the ground and it's still warm, and if they germinated then, the winter would kill them. And so dormancy is a characteristic in the seed that they wait until they've gone through a winter and then they germinate.
Right.
And Mother Nature could throw all kinds of surprises, so there's a big variation in the amount of dormancy in the seeds.
So this is what happens after you soak them. Then you put them into the wet paper towel, right?
Oh, look at that one's got almost a full inch.
See, there's a couple in there that are probably ready to go. Well, so this is the final stage. You know what I mean? What's great about hemp is that they call it a dual crop, so it has many uses. So we can we can grow it for the seeds, and like press it for the seeds, and then that makes the oils and all these different things. But then you've grown the stock. So what do you do with all the stock? You might as well use that too. And you can turn that into paper. And basically we have the final stages of the paper making here. So this definitely didn't use any chemicals, no binders or anything. It's just pure outer bast. Trying not to use chemicals of any way. So again, like this is like a whole bunch of fiber out of this fiber.
You know, whether we're breaking it down to make plasters from it or like make resins from it, we could make it. I think once we make it appealing visually, and so people don't feel like, oh, I'm giving a look up to be green, but instead like I'm making it look better and I'm natural.
It looks awesome.
You know? It looks better. I mean, it'll look amazing.
You're separating the fibers, and what are you going to do with the rest of it?
Well, then, so this is just the bast, the outer fibers. Then I have the inner fibers, the herds, that I'll mulch that up even further, and then that can be used as additives for like hemp concrete or hemp housing installations.
I mean, I think that's a great start to make.
We need what? What is
to
the
make the
recipe for
hempcrete?
that?
I mean, hopefully we'll break that down in like a chipper, type mulch, and then we'll be able to add water and add lime, and that'll start to, chemically bind.
So what was the thing that you were saying? Like, what is it called when it starts falsifying?
It's a French term. It's called isochanvre, and it's just that when the hempcrete essentially when you're making this concrete, it just gets stronger and stronger over time. That it basically that it becomes a fossil-like, and that these ancient builders have been mixing in hemp fibers because you get this other natural process that makes this
It's super fibrous
building
and
material
strong
even
and stuff.
better.
Yeah.
You know, even way stronger. So I mean, I think, you know, just starting now with the paper you started and just, you know,
Yeah.
trying to make a pulp now.
So we're trying to like ground this up even more to a finer pulp, and then we're trying to like these fibers we're trying to like ground these up to more of kind of like a sawdust almost, or maybe
it's
not so.
It's big. A sawdust would be cool actually.
If we can get it like that fine, then we'd be stoked.
That actually would look. That would actually give it a whole other kind of.
But we're gonna
you know,
try to break it
whole
down. But
different
we're
look.
gonna have to like paste this up, while we're gonna get like chunks of this.
Can you feed raw grinded up hemp into a 3D printer?
They're starting to make 3D printers which have you print into metal, you print into wood. So that's definitely a viable. You know, it's possible.
I don't know what else to do. That's why I'm doing it this way, because I literally don't have any other idea on what to do. My tools that I have are limited right now. So if I had more, I don't have enough to like rent a wood chopper. That'd be like kind of silly. But if I had 4 hours of work, you know, I would rent a wood chopper. So once I get enough material, I don't have enough material. Like this is gonna also take me 4 hours to do it this way, but as opposed to like 1 minute with a wood chopper. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's looking pretty good, you know. And then I mix that with water and lime. And even though it's like kind of chunky and stuff, you know, it's still those fibers, and it's still gonna do what it needs to do. We need, of course, larger machines, larger industry to take it to that level. So again, it's good to be understanding the process and to be getting really intimate with the plant right now, but it's also going to be important to have that deeper understanding when we do have acreages and acreages of industrial hemp stalks and a need for it. And what's great about it is that it's something that's very viable, something that's very useful, and it is worth it.
Denver Hemp Division here in the basement.